In this video, we're going to take a look at Family Consumer Science and General Natural Resource record books. I'm going to use the CAT record as an example, but it's extremely important that you go online and find the right record book. In the CAT record book, there are only 5 pages, and I don't have a specific project page where I need to do additional steps. Most Family Consumer Science and General Natural Resource projects will have additional pages. So please use this video just as a general informational video for these records. The cool thing about these records is that you're going to complete them and turn them in with your project at FAIR. So this is something that is good to go ahead and print the draft of. You can print extra pages to write notes in, but your final is going to be done just right before you turn things in at FAIR. So for here, we're going to go ahead and fill out the information. And although this says cats, we still need to put cat on the project. Sometimes there'll be unit numbers up here, and even if there's a unit number, you still need to write the unit number down here. Let's say this is my first year. I'll go ahead and complete that. And then there's information here. I did highlight these in 3 different colors, and this relates to, in a couple of pages, junior information will be blue, intermediate will be green, and yellow will be senior. So you don't need to highlight this on your copy. This is just for the video purposes. Now, don't forget that you do need to put your first and last name so that we can make sure this record book stays with your stuff. And then the county is Larimer County here. At the bottom, do leave some time to meet up with your leader to get this signed before your interview judging. If your leader is unavailable, maybe they're gone for the time being, meet with them beforehand to find out who they should work with in order to get this signed in time for your interview judging. The next page here is going to discuss about how you participate in 4-H. So when it asks for projects, it's not just asking about this project, but what other projects did you enroll in as well? Let's say I'm taking dog, cat, and model rocketry, and cake decorating. And so when you count these all up, I'll have 4 total for this year. And then you'll want to go on and fill out additional information in here. You can have additional pages. Just go ahead and make a note in here to see the additional page, and then I would make sure to have that right after page 2 so that they can find it right away. On the bottom here, you're going to have citizenship, community service, and demonstrations, presentations, and speeches. So once again, you'll fill out this information, and that will be part of your record book. This next page is going to have different requirements based on your age. So when you are a junior, the only thing you need to do on this page is this portion right here. So it says for you to calculate the cost of the specific ingredients and materials to use on your final exhibit item, and you'll write those expenses here. You can go ahead and list them out individually or include practice items, but to meet the minimum requirements, you just need to do 1 line. Now, when you're an intermediate or a senior, we need a lot more information, and it's unlikely you'll be able to fit everything on this page. So it's really good to go ahead and start with an additional page right off the start when you're printing your drafts. So for intermediates and seniors, we need to list items purchased this year for your project. That can be tools, that can be class fees. There's so many things, and it includes your project for the whole year, not just the single item or board that you are bringing for FAIR. In addition to completing this section, Seniors and intermediates need to look at the income and value of the items that they made for the year. So on this first one is going to be practice items. If you were to buy a similar item from the store, what would you pay for it? And that is the value that you're going to list. The second item is record the value of your exhibit items by comparing it to an item that you could buy. So if you were to make something that had value to it, you would put it here. But as you see, display boards have no value. So if you're doing this for the cat project, your display board wouldn't have any value for this section. The last is going to be the amount of money you received for anything you sold. So maybe for the cat project, I decided that I was going to research and make carpeted cat scratchers. And so the cost of those carpeted cat scratchers was up here, and I sold them down here. And then I would go ahead and have that information all there. Most projects are going to need to have additional pages for this section as well, because you do need to make several practice items in the majority of these projects. The last thing here is going to be return on investment. Once again, this is for intermediates and seniors. This is an amazing skill to learn right now. You need to know how much things cost and how much you could sell them for, and also count your time in there. And so this is really great so you can learn about what you want to do in the future or make some more of those decisions. I just love this section. It really helps with determining just even what you want to do. Maybe you want to crochet a bunch of stuff and give it to your friends, but this kind of helps you think about it. If that is something that is going to be the best option for you. Maybe you're making them for friends instead of purchasing gifts, and you do have a return on investment in that way. But this is just a really great section for you to go through and to learn and to practice every year. And this is one of the reasons why I love record books. So we got a couple more pages here. So once again, if you are in a project that has additional pages, they're normally between page 3 and page 4. And please make sure that you take a look at the information on your record book when you are trying to find out what you need to do. If you're not sure, absolutely please reach out to your leader as soon as absolutely possible. A lot of leaders have more time right now and they have classes and things like that. It can be really difficult to try to juggle everything right before fair because a lot of us are getting ready for fair. And so if you can reach out to us right away, that is going to be the best situation for everybody involved. Now, photographs. This is another item which you will need to pay attention to what the project is asking for. For the cat project, they want 4 pictures with a descriptive caption. And additional photos can be added, and photos must be project specific. So if we're doing the cat project, I wouldn't put a photo of me and my dog or me and my model rockets. What I would do is put photos including maybe my club or my demonstration. It could include when I took a tour of a veterinary clinic. Another time I made toys for an animal shelter. They had some information on their website, and so I went and I made those, and so I took photos of the toys that I made and also when I brought the toys there with the cats playing with them. In the shelter I went to, they let me do that. That's not always the case, but just make sure that you put your information here. Although it is not required, I highly recommend you date your photos. Record books are an amazing tool where you can go back and see what you've done year to year, or to help you remember the things that you did in that 4-H year. And without a date, it can be really hard to remember what was going on at that time. So although it's not required, I would recommend that you put a date on all of your photos. Now your photos, at least for the cat project, you can adhere them to this page. You can put together something online and print it right out. But do please take a look at what the requirements are. The next page is going to be the 4-H story. And this is, we're going to put a maximum on it. And 4-H stories can be a little bit difficult because you're trying to remember everything that you did for your project throughout the year. And a lot of times you're trying to do this pretty close to when your project is due. And you have just so many things going on. And so when I'm doing the story, I highly recommend that you go back to those other pages of your book and take a look at, oh, what activities did you do? Leadership, things like that. And this can really help you to make a story that is really awesome for your project. Now, there are a lot of resources out there for how to write your stories, and some tips and tools for that. I would take a look at our website, or you can look on other websites to get some information. Hope you enjoyed the story.